When reality hits hard and you can't understand it, you often fall into denial. Berge, the Demon King, screams in pain and rage. Blood pours from his mouth. He never saw this coming. In his destroyed throne room, the dead bodies of his followers lie everywhere. The winning heroes stare up at him from below. His black flames, which he was so proud of, failed to kill any heroes. Berge looks in shock at the group that defeated him. He can't understand how the hero sword god's blade cut through his tough scales and pierced his heart. The scene freezes on the moment the sword stabs him while he sits on his throne. I don't understand, Berge thinks. Blood drips down his chin. He can't accept that he lost. The story flashes back in time. Berge remembers his younger days. I was far better than everyone, he thinks. A young, confident, smiling Berge stands at the Demon King Military Academy. He graduated as the top student with the highest honors. There are the Demon King standards, rules set by the first great Demon King Emperor. Berge studied them more than anyone and followed every word exactly. He built a tower. He kidnapped princesses using his demon minions. He even helped train the heroes who came to rescue them. He kept the princesses in cages to attract their saviors. For a Demon King, the rage and sadness of heroes was the best food. But killing them too early was a problem. The right way was to let them grow stronger first, then defeat them. The stronger the hero, the better the taste. That was his belief. He followed the standards better than any other Demon King. Hatred from ordinary people grew. He thought conquering the world was only a matter of time. His power increased with every battle. He absorbed the anger and sadness from heroes and people. He became the strongest Demon King ever, back to the present. But why did I lose in the end? How? Berge asks himself again and again. His face shows confusion and despair. A mocking voice breaks the silence. You Demon Kings always say the same thing, the sword god hero says with a smirk. You bring this on yourselves. Why act so surprised? I don't understand, Berge thinks, eyes wide with shock and cold sweat. Liar, the hero replies. You always kidnap the most famous princess and leave clues so we can find you and fight. You're stupid. If I were the Demon King, I'd kill the human king first. The kingdom would fall into chaos. Berge suddenly realizes, kidnapping a king would make humans fight each other for the throne. Their anger would not focus on him, so he would not gain power. It went against the standards. The image of the standards book flashes in his mind, the cause of his downfall. The hero continues with a cynical smile. And that's not all. If we don't come to your tower, you send monsters to villages so we can train and get stronger. Thanks for the help. Your tower makes everything easy for us. Images show heroes walking toward the tower. It was their perfect training ground. The first floor has only weak monsters. We train at our own pace and improve our skills. Berge feels burning rage. He was careful not to let heroes die too soon, just to gain more energy. But it was all pointless. That's what the standards taught me. The sword god stabs him again as a final cruel act. Berge eyes widen in agony and shame. When the tower gets boring. We just kill the Demon King. A new one appears with a new tower. It's the perfect hunting spot for heroes, right guys? The other heroes laugh and mock him. Of course. Thanks, Demon King. You helped us get stronger. You're more like a teacher than an enemy. Berge looks up helplessly as they thank him with sarcasm. My tower was just their hunting ground. His world falls apart. The hero says coldly, you were strong. Many heroes died this time. But that's fine, I became famous. Goodbye, Demon King. He raises his sword for the killing blow. Rage explodes inside Berge. How dare a hero humiliate me like this? His hand claws into the bloody floor. What the hell are the Demon King standards? With his dying breath, he refuses to give up. I can't die like this. I am a Demon King. In primal fury, Berge releases all his remaining power. A massive explosion of red demonic energy bursts from his body. It swallows everything in a storm of rage and destruction. His form dissolves into blinding light. The blast shakes the entire castle. Heroes fly through the air in chaos. Blood and debris rain down. The demonic energy destroys everything. In his final moments on the ground, Berge promises revenge. Those who look down on me will pay. The last thing he sees is the reflection of the triumphant sword god hero. One hero shouts excitedly, don't touch his head. The horns are mine. But the energy consumes everything. The hero realizes too late. Wait, no. Purple energy explodes violently, a final act of fury from a betrayed Demon King. The hero screams as he is torn apart. I'll ruin everything. The explosion kills all the heroes in the throne room. A complete final revenge. In the darkness, Verdilos thinks, if I had known the truth, I would never have followed the standards. If I get another chance, forget the standards. I'll just unleash chaos. The tower explodes into darkness. A distant voice calls, Berge. His eyes snap open. He is in a grand hall lit by moonlight through tall windows. He looks around in confusion. Students in uniform surround him. What? I'm alive? A strong voice calls, Berge Diaz. Step forward. He walks forward, mind racing. This place, it's impossible. The academy headmaster stands before him. Berge Diaz, why act like this on your graduation day? He sees the red emblem in the headmaster's hand, the symbol of a demon king. This is graduation day at the Demon King Military Academy, 15 years ago. All graduates must take the stage and swear to follow the Demon King standards. As class representative, Berge Diaz must read them aloud. A large hologram appears, showing the standards, the same rules that led to his humiliating death. He thinks, I memorized this perfectly. I followed it with all my heart. This garbage turned me into a toy for heroes and ruined me. Memories of his death burn in his mind. Do I really have to read this now? Do I have to swear loyalty again in front of everyone? His throat tightens. The headmaster and teachers smile, unaware of the rage building inside him. Berge Diaz clenches his teeth hard. His face becomes a mask of pure anger. The host says, Berge Diaz, please read the Grand Demon King standards. Rage explodes. His voice rings out clear and strong, I refuse. Dead silence falls. Students freeze in shock. Berge Diaz shouts, I will not swear loyalty to something so stupid. The Demon King standards are trash. His words hit like a shockwave. Students stand with mouths open. One boy's glasses even crack from surprise. The headmaster's face twists in fury. Berge Diaz's rebellion echoes through the hall, breaking years of tradition. This was the moment the academy's greatest student became its biggest disgrace. A new path of vengeance had just begun. In the grand ceremonial hall of the Demon Kingdom, anger exploded. The Archduke, Arcane Blur, slammed his fist on the podium. His eyes were red with rage as he shouted at Berge Diaz. He threatened to execute him for insulting the standards of the Demon King. From his tall throne, Archduke spoke again. He said that because of Berge Diaz's great achievements and talent, he would get one last chance to save himself. He must take back his foolish words and apologize to the entire Demon Kingdom. If he refused, he would be sent to Arian. Gasps filled the hall. Everyone knew Arian. It was a dangerous dimension where dozens of Demon Kings had died. It was almost certain death. Some demons muttered that a person who insulted the standards deserved to die. They said even an apology was not enough. The Archduke reminded Berge Diaz about Arian's terrible reputation. It was the worst realm, where countless Demon Kings had lost their lives, but Berge Diaz smiled, showing his sharp teeth. His eyes showed no fear. He broke the heavy silence with simple words, send me there. Shock spread through the hall. Berge Diaz spoke loudly and boldly. He said he would go to Arian to prove that the Demon King standards were worthless. The Archduke was furious at this disrespect. He called Berge Diaz hopeless and ordered him sent away at once. A bright teleportation circle appeared under Berge Diaz's feet. The Archduke added that he would get none of the special treatment given to high-ranking Demon Kings. No one would go with him. He could not return until his task was done. As he fell through the portal, Berge Diaz thought calmly. This was what he expected after the mess he had caused. But they were sending him back to that place. He fell toward a vast, beautiful land of mountains and rain, the same world where the heroes who once killed him had lived. In his mind, he remembered that even before his regression, he had chosen Arian himself. Berge Diaz believed that the strongest, like him, should face the greatest challenges. That pride cost him his life in the past. Too many heroes had used the Demon King's code against Demon Kings. Seconds later, Berge Diaz crashed onto the peak of a snowy mountain shaped like a shooting star. He spread his wings to block the cold winds of Regressed Mountain in the northern continent. Still proud, he cleared his throat and said, I won't let that happen again. This time, I'll use the code against the heroes to prove I'm right. Meanwhile, Gordon Dyrek shaved happily while humming a tune. He fastened his clothes neatly, looked in the mirror, and smiled. Perfect. The Demon King's Academy trains future Demon Kings. The Demon Clan Academy trains the clans that serve them. By Demon Realm rules, the top clan serves the top Demon King. Standing on the graduation platform, Gordon heard his friend say, Lucky you, Gordon. Graduating as head of the clan means you'll serve Demon King Berge. I wish I had tried harder. Gordon stayed calm outside, but inside he was excited. None of the Demon Kings compared to Lord Berge. Berge came from the rare demon dragon bloodline, a genius born once in 1,000 years. Serving him was an honor. With Lord Berge, they could conquer any world. Gordon dreamed of his own name in demon history. Suddenly, Berge Diaz spoke from the stands, that's wrong. Everyone froze. Berge Diaz continued calmly, the so-called Demon King's code is nothing but trash. In that moment, Gordon's dreams broke. He stood stunned. These were the memories of the man now deep in Regressed Mountain. By demon law, the top clan serves the top Demon King. Gordon was still in shock. But why? Berge Diaz's voice came from behind, they said no clan would follow me, but they still sent someone. Gordon turned slowly. Berge reached out his hand. Good to see you again, Gordon. Gordon did not shake it. Why did you say that? You called the code trash in front of everyone. And to Arian, no less. Now I'm going to die, too. Even after a sincere warning from the Berge Diaz, calm down. You'll tear out all your hair now. He couldn't drop his anger instantly. My hair isn't the issue. That noisy display made Berge Diaz ponder. Has Gordon always been like this? Before I reverted, he was calm and confident. An old memory from a past life flashed. It'll be hard, but with you and me, we can do it. Actually, if it weren't Arian, I wouldn't be interested. Berge Diaz sighed wearily. It's understandable. The situation is totally different now. But if I told him I'd reverted, he'd think I'm crazy. Having vented everything, Gordon finally fell silent and gathered himself. He sadly clutched his hair to hold back tears and apologized for his earlier disgrace, saying, since it's come to this, I'll fulfill my duty, forcing Berge Diaz to pretend not to notice the weak display and reply, very well. Demon King's Code. Rule 1. A Demon King must erect a tower, but must not hide it or place it in an overly harsh environment. Only then can heroes find it. Gordon, of course, remembered and warned Berge Diaz. This place is too dangerous. Surrounded by towering mountains, humans can't find or reach it. Even strong monsters roam freely. You can't build a tower here. We should move. Unexpectedly, he bent and shoved the stone straight into the ground. No, I'll build the tower right here. The tower seed planted in the earth and feed it with the Demon King's device so the tower can grow. That act visibly angered Gordon. Rule 1, you're directly defying them. Have you even discarded a Demon King's pride? Berge Diaz muttered dejectedly. I never swore to obey them. From an angle Gordon couldn't see, Berge Diaz silently glanced at him. I understand the disgust you feel being demon-born. It's hard to abandon a belief engraved to the bone. Unless you die or endure something as brutal as death, you won't renounce it because I was the same before. Berge Diaz slowly drove his nail into his palm to draw blood. He carefully let that plasma drip onto the tower seed and said, listen closely, Gordon. The Demon King's code is trash, especially here in Arian. The unusual gravity in his tone sent a chill down Gordon's spine. The snowy mountain began to tremble continuously from beneath the frozen ground. The tower seed started to react. It suddenly expelled a small orb of mana. It quickly spiraled in a large circle across the ground. Berge Diaz watched and hissed with excitement because Arian is crawling with heroes. Remembering the people who skewed him in his past life, he couldn't help sneering, so many it's absurd. As the formation completed, a series of announcements rang out. Tower identifying user race. Black Flame, Dragon Demon Clan. Name, Berge Diaz. Identification complete, proceed to summon the tower. The final announcement coincided with a building rising from the frozen ground. The splendid sight made Berge Diaz mutter bitterly. This is why Demon Kings keep dying here after countless tower destructions. Humans learned the tower's mechanism and used the Demon King's own rules against us. On this land, the Demon King's rules no longer apply. Indeed, they should be called the Hero Standards, which puzzled Gordon. Gordon finally understood the terrible truth. In this land, the old Demon King rules no longer worked. They should be called the Hero's rules instead. Before them stood a tall, dark tower, complete and menacing, rising out of the snowy wasteland. Gordon stared up at it, stunned. In the end, Berge Diaz had built the tower in that forbidden place after all. Berge Diaz walked calmly toward the main entrance. Let's go in, he said to Gordon. Gordon followed in silent hesitation. They entered the first floor of Berge Diaz tower. It was a huge hall with high, arched ceilings and a patterned floor, but it was completely empty. Gordon spoke out loud. A normal Demon King tower should have traps, complicated rooms, or monsters to guard it. But there's nothing here. It was a tower with no advantages for a Demon King, no special privileges. They climbed to the top floor, the Demon King's chamber on the 5th floor. It was the same, a large empty hall with a throne at the far end, and nothing else. Every floor was deserted. Gordon looked serious. The tower is built now. We can't change that. So we must at least follow rule number 2 of the Demon King standards. Rule number 2, kidnap a prince or princess, preferably one high in line for the throne. The reason was simple: important royalty produced more demonic energy when captured, through the anger and sorrow of their kingdom. Gordon offered to advise Berge Diaz. The Demon King stood with his back turned and allowed him to speak. Gordon pointed to a map. The closest kingdom is the kingdom of course, in the Regressed Mountains. Please kidnap the princess with the highest rank. That will bring the most anger and sorrow from the kingdom, and you will grow strong quickly. Gordon expected Berge Diaz to refuse. To his surprise, the Demon King agreed. Gordon was shocked. Berge Diaz added, I already have a princess in mind. Excited, Gordon offered to help, but Berge Diaz gave a clear order: stay here and guard the tower. A Demon King's home cannot be left empty. Gordon felt huge relief and joy. Thank goodness, Berge Diaz was still acting like a real Demon King. His strange behavior had just been stress. This could still work. Now it truly began. As Berge Diaz prepared to leave from the balcony, Gordon asked, trying to be a good servant, which princess will you bring? Berge Diaz gave a sly, secret smile and only said, well. The scene changed. Berge Diaz flew over a distant city at night. His target was far away, not the nearby kingdom, but Hilderin, the southernmost nation on the continent, the farthest from his tower. The view moved to a huge castle. Only one window was brightly lit in the dark night. Inside the room, a beautiful blonde princess named Hildera looked out the window. Berge Diaz spread his demon wings and landed in front of her under the full moon. Now his true plan was clear. Out of all possible princesses, he had chosen the one with the least importance, the 13th princess. His red horns shone in the moonlight. With an intense look, he said, I have come to take you, princess. Back in the tower, Gordon's mind exploded. He screamed at the top of his lungs, that's the exact opposite of the standards. In the middle of the night, the Demon King Berge Diaz appears in a princess's bedroom. The young woman with long blonde hair, wearing a nightgown, sits on her bed. She looks at him without fear, only calm curiosity and a serene face. Princess Hernand asks the stranger, who are you? Under the bright full moonlight, Berge Diaz answers with a serious and determined look. I am the Demon King who has come to kidnap you. A small, mysterious smile appears on Princess Hernand's face. This is a completely unexpected reaction to a kidnapping. Still sitting on her bed, she asks a bold question to the surprised intruder. Demon King, are you sure you can handle me? Berge Diaz feels confused by the odd question. He wonders if she thinks Demon Kings are a joke. He replies confidently, of course I can. I am a Demon King. To his surprise, Princess Hernand holds out her hands and offers herself willingly. Then take me. Berge Diaz grows suspicious and asks what she is planning. Hernand thinks for a moment and says that, as a princess, she always expected something like this might happen one day. Berge Diaz refuses to be tricked so easily. He warns her not to expect him to lower his guard. He is in a desperate situation himself and will not fall for any tricks. Hernand says she is not planning anything. With clear logic, she asks how she could have set a trap when she did not know a Demon King would come that night. Berge Diaz quietly admits to himself that she has a good point. Still, he feels uneasy about the whole situation. Finally, they stand face to face. Princess Hernand seems ready to leave. She holds out her hand and says, then, shall we go? The scene changes to a snowy mountain landscape. Berge Diaz, in his demonic form with wings, flies toward his tall fortress. He lands, carrying the princess wrapped in a cloak. A subordinate with long black hair and pointed ears greets him. Berge Diaz orders the subordinate, named Gordon, to house her on the 4th floor. Gordon is shocked. He thought the princess would go to the dungeon. Berge Diaz explains that since she did not resist, she will get some kindness. Meanwhile, the princess waves cheerfully. Right after, Gordon approaches Berge Diaz and says he has something important to report. The scene moves to the 4th floor of the tower. It is a huge empty hall with cold stone floors. Princess Hernand sits alone on the freezing floor and whispers to herself, I really have been kidnapped. Her thoughts wander. She compares this place to her old life. Here, there are no pillows, no blankets, no servants like in her palace bedroom. There are no beautiful gardens with fountains. This place is nothing like her kingdom, but then her face lights up with mischief and joy. In her mind, she thinks of a but, and she says to herself, it's not that bad. Back with Berge Diaz, Gordon tells him about an invitation from the Beast Tower. It is a welcome banquet for the new Demon King. Berge Diaz is doubtful. He thinks it is a weak attempt to scare and test the newcomer. The story explains that Demon Kings are too proud to work together. But a great threat named Aryan has forced them to form an uneasy alliance. Berge Diaz thinks about this. Before, he ignored the others and thought they were weak. Now, as the new Demon King, he knows he must join in. He decides to accept the invitation to make first contact. Berge Diaz and Gordon arrive at the Beast Tower, a huge stone building covered in vines in the middle of a thick jungle. On a massive throne sits a giant beast with white fur, sharp claws, and glowing red eyes. My name is Draxon. I am the Demon King of Beasts, he says. He brags about his power. I have ruled this place for 70 years. Berge Diaz listens in silence while Draxon mocks him. So, you're the new Demon King. I heard you broke traditions, but you look pretty ordinary. Berge Diaz stays calm and asks directly if Draxon wants a fight. He tells him to speak plainly. Behind him, Gordon already regrets coming. Draxon laughs and finally reveals the true reason for the invitation. Archduke Arcane told me to watch you as soon as you arrived. When Berge Diaz hears the name, he scoffs and calls the Archduke that noisy old vampire. He adds that dropping him in Aryan wasn't enough to improve his mood. This insult makes Draxon furious. How dare you speak of the Archduke like that? He shouts. In rage, he slams the meat he was eating onto the floor in front of Berge Diaz. Lick it, Draxon orders. Do it, and I'll forgive your disrespect. Berge Diaz stays calm. Demon King of Beasts, he says, do you really not know why I'm here? Draxon laughs mockingly. Because you mocked the Demon King orthodoxy. A wicked smile appears on Berge Diaz's face. According to that orthodoxy, demon kings cannot kill each other. Suddenly, Berge Diaz stomps the ground. The floor cracks, and a powerful shock wave bursts out. A crushing red aura explodes from him, sending Draxen flying through the air. Everyone freezes in shock. Berge Diaz's eyes glow bright crimson. Do you really think I would follow that rule? Draxen lies on the ground, soaked in cold sweat and shaking with fear. He can only think, what is this aura? Terrified, he quickly tells the rest of the message. Archduke Arcane ordered him to check if Berge Diaz had kidnapped a princess. If the report was not sent within a month, Berge Diaz would lose his authority. As Berge Diaz and Gordon start to leave, Berge Diaz says casually, I did kidnap a princess. Draxen's eyes widen in shock. Berge Diaz smiles with smug pride and adds, but she suits my taste perfectly. Draxen and his beasts are left speechless. The scene returns to Berge's tall tower in the snow. Its windows glow faint red. In the throne room, Gordon praises Berge Diaz. You showed the true majesty of a demon king. Berge Diaz brushes it off. He is sure Draxen will not bother them again. Still, he knows they must stay ready. He tells Gordon to check on the princess while he thinks about how to use her. Snow falls quietly outside the Gothic window. Berge Diaz sits on his throne, looking worried. He admits the situation is troublesome. If the other demon kings feel the same way, things will get complicated, but his eyes grow determined. Mocking the orthodoxy has brought bigger problems than he expected. Even so, he would make the same choice again. Proud and defiant, he says to himself, I would rather die than bow my head to garbage. Berge Diaz opens his status screen. He expects only a few hundred demon energy points for kidnapping a low-ranking princess, the safest option. Instead, the number is huge, 13,000 points. Sweat runs down his face. Why do I have so many points? A notification appears. He has received a recorded message from the Beast Tower, the one Draxen promised. Berge Diaz opens it. Draxen now speaks in a fake-friendly voice. New Demon King, I send this to congratulate you. Our first meeting was not pleasant, but as your superior, should help you. What you did in Arian was impressive. Perhaps your mockery of the orthodoxy was just an act. As he listens, a terrible suspicion grows in Berge Diaz's mind. His face tightens with panic. Something is very wrong. At that moment, Gordon bursts into the hall, out of breath. Demon King. We have a big problem. The fourth floor, the scene shows the fourth floor. It has turned into a beautiful paradise. Clear water flows from a waterfall. Colorful butterflies fly around. Flowers and green plants cover everything. Berge Diaz stares in complete disbelief. He cannot find words. A system window appears, fourth floor status, naturalization in progress. The barren hall is slowly changing into a living natural paradise. In the center stands the princess, gently petting slimes. Fire, wind, and cloud elemental spirits float around her. Berge Diaz realizes in horror, she has created a full ecosystem inside a magic tower. Only someone who has mastered all four elements could do this. He remembers visiting the castle for the 13th princess. But only one spiritualist on the entire continent can achieve something like this. He finally speaks to her directly. You are not the 13th princess. The princess smiles calmly while petting a slime. As I thought, you mistook me for Elena. Berge Diaz's face twists in panic as everything clicks. Wait, don't tell me you are. She gives a proud, mischievous smile. Correct. My name is Irana Hilderan. I am the first princess of the Hilderan kingdom. The scene shifts to the kingdom of Hilderan. The news spreads like wildfire, the first princess has been kidnapped by a demon king. King Ernan, Irana's father, is furious. His eyes are bloodshot with rage. Who dares kidnap my beloved daughter Irana? He roars his orders, gather the greatest heroes and the entire royal army. Now. Armored knights rush to prepare for war. The king's final command echoes with pure fury, we will behead that foolish demon king and bring my daughter back. Back at the tower, Princess Ernan Hilderan smiles boldly and challenges her captor. Do you really think you can handle me? Berge Diaz is shocked. Even with his sharp senses, he did not sense the princess's great power. As a genius elemental mage, he wonders how she hid it from him. Ernan shows him her secret, a ring. It is an ancient royal treasure that completely hides her mana, making her impossible to detect. She looks satisfied and asks directly, so, do you plan to send me back? Berge Diaz thinks about it. If he returns her now, he will look weak to other kingdoms. It will also make it harder to gather demonic energy. With a strong look, he decides. There is no going back. He will follow his plan to the end. A system alert appears, showing Berge Diaz's demonic energy points, 9511. He tells her calmly that nothing has changed. It does not matter that she is not the 13th princess. She is still his queen. Ernan looks at him with a calm and happy expression. She does not seem scared at all. The scene moves to the rich Hilderan kingdom. The king hears the news and becomes very angry. He orders his men to kill the stupid Demon King and bring his daughter back. A nervous minister tries to calm him. He says they do not yet know which Demon King did it, and patrols are already searching. The king shouts at them to hurry. He cannot believe his daughter was kidnapped. While the men stand still, another minister speaks up. He wears glasses and thinks carefully. He says something is strange about this. He reminds them of the recent event with the Demon King of Lust. That Demon King drew too much attention and was killed by heroes. Now, right after that warning, another Demon King kidnaps a princess. It is very suspicious. The royal council gasps. They finally understand. This may not be simple. The king's hand shakes as he holds his throne. He is full of anger and frustration. He grinds his teeth and decides, if it is not one of the known Demon Kings, it must be a new one. Just then, a knight runs into the throne room. They found traces of teleportation magic. The trail leads north, toward the Regressed Mountains. The king's face shows shock and disbelief. The Regressed Mountains are the most dangerous and remote place on the continent. The scene changes to the snowy Regressed Mountains. A dark tower stands alone. It is Berge's tower. Inside, Gordon Derrick, Berge's loyal but worried servant, speaks up. He says the Hilderan army will come soon, and his lord cannot fight them alone. Berge Diaz only smiles with full confidence. He says there is nothing to worry about. The kingdom of Hilderan will never reach this place. Gordon looks confused. Berge stands in front of a map and explains. His tower is far north. Hilderan is deep south. Many countries are between them, so a direct attack is impossible. He smiles smugly. He knows the other nations will not help. Hilderan will have to hire the Hero Guild. Back in Hilderan, the king has no choice. With a heavy heart, he orders his ministers to contact the Hero Guild. The scene moves to the huge Hero Guild fortress. It is surrounded by snow. Heroes and mercenaries crowd around a quest board. The poster about Princess Ernon's kidnapping causes a big reaction. When they see the location is Regressed, everyone refuses. One mercenary says no way, he did not sign up to die in a monster-filled wasteland. Another laughs and says the king of Hilderan will suffer. Berge Diaz had predicted all of this. The Hero Guild cares only about money. They will never take such a dangerous job without a huge reward. That is why he built his tower there. Gordon is amazed by his master's smart planning. Berge thought of everything. He knows so much about the human world of Arian, even though he ignores its rules. Gordon wonders how Berge Diaz knows so much about the human world. It feels like his master has lived here before. Back in the Hilderan throne room, the king shouts in anger. He cannot believe that no hero will take the job. How can they call themselves heroes, he roars. A minister sighs and explains the truth. There are many heroes in Arian, but most care more about money than duty. They only choose easy or well-paid missions. Meanwhile, Berge Diaz looks at his system interface. He knows it will take time for the kingdom to find heroes willing to come. Even then, the journey to his remote tower will be long. Sitting on his throne, Berge Diaz thinks quietly. His current demonic energy is not enough to fight a full group of heroes. A dark memory comes to him, the heroes who defeated him in the past. He remembers that fear well. He will never underestimate them again. He turns to Gordon and gives a surprising order. Contact Draxon. I will sell demonic energy for human gold. Gordon is shocked and screams, sell demonic energy? That's crazy. He reminds his master that demonic energy is precious. It is used to unlock tower powers and summon monsters. Why trade it for simple money? Berge Diaz stays calm. He knows Draxon will pay a huge amount. With that gold, he can do something important to stop the heroes. The scene moves to Holton Work, a busy fortress city near the dangerous Regressed Mountains. This is Berge Diaz's next stop. Wearing a black cloak to hide his face, Berge Diaz reaches the city gates. Two guards stop him and ask who he is. I am a mercenary, he says calmly. The guards look suspicious. No mercenary travels alone to these mountains. Berge Diaz flips a gold coin into the air. One guard catches it and his eyes go wide. The bribe works right away. While they stare at the coin, Berge Diaz walks past and says with a smirk, don't you trust me? Inside the city, he looks around the busy streets. He needs a guide. So he heads to the Scarlet Hawk Mercenary Guild. The guild is a noisy tavern filled with the smell of beer. Mercenaries talk loudly and brag. One man sits with his feet on the table. He boasts that mercenaries have an easy life. Soldiers do the hard fighting, and mercenaries just kill monsters and take the rewards. The talk turns to rumors. One mercenary laughs about the new Demon King in the Regressed Mountains. He says it must be fake. Real Demon Kings build towers in easy places so heroes can reach them. Another says he heard this Demon King kidnapped Princess Ernon of Hilderan. The first man laughs harder. No Demon King would travel across the whole continent for that. A third mercenary says the Hero Guild refused the quest when they heard the location. The others say it is just a trick to ask for more money. Rescuing a princess is worth a fortune. They all laugh loudly, mocking how greedy the Hero Guild is. Suddenly, a dark figure stands behind them. It is Berge Diaz. He smiles coldly and says, I see. So that's how it works. The laughing mercenary turns and screams in fear. In seconds, the others draw weapons and surround Berge Diaz. Who are you? They shout. Berge Diaz smiles like a predator. You know a lot, he says. You will make good guides. He orders calmly, leave one here. The rest, get out. The mercenaries are furious and attack him all at once. Berge Diaz moves with incredible speed. He knocks them down with powerful, precise strikes. Dozens fall in moments. One huge mercenary tries to hit him from behind with a club. Berge Diaz stops the attack without looking, breaking the weapon easily. His eyes glow red as he punches back with dark energy. The big man looks terrified. The surviving mercenaries run away in panic, screaming. The one Berge Diaz chose to spare stays on the floor, shaking. He whispers, monster. Berge Diaz grins wildly, his eyes shining with demonic power. Outside, people hear the screams and noise. A mage and her friend watch without worry. They're fighting again, she says. It happens all the time. Inside, the tavern is silent except for the bodies on the floor. Berge Diaz stands unharmed. He looks down at the terrified mercenary and says gently, do not be afraid. Answer my questions, and I will let you live. The man nods quickly. Berge Diaz asks, where is the slave market? The scene changes to a beautiful mansion with fountains and iron gates. It looks rich, but it is really the slave market. The scared mercenary leads Berge Diaz there. A merchant greets them with a big smile and shows a cage of human slaves. Do you like them? He asks. Berge Diaz looks bored. Do you have anything rarer? He throws a heavy bag of gold. The merchant catches it, his eyes shining with greed. A golden tooth flashes in his smile. Yes, of course. This way, please. As they walk deeper into the building, Berge Diaz thinks to himself. This merchant does not care that his men were just beaten. Humans who want money are no different from demons who want demonic energy. They go down stone stairs to a secret area. Behind a wooden door is the special merchandise. A flashback shows Berge Diaz telling Gordon his real plan. With human gold, I will buy slaves, rare races captured by humans. An elf would be perfect. In a cell, a green-haired elf named Granada is chained and muzzled. He glares with pure hate. Berge Diaz smiles darkly. He will use this elf as a spy to cause trouble among the heroes. Suddenly, the scene cuts back to the Hilderan throne room. A Hillen announces, the savior has arrived. Hero Hillen Cargill is here. The king looks relieved. He is sure Cargill will accept the mission. Cargill is a strong man in shining armor. He kneels before the king and promises, I will rescue the princess and bring back the Demon King's head. I swear it in the name of justice. His eyes burn with determination. Back at the tower, Berge Diaz explains the plan to his subordinate. He will use the elf as a spy to confuse and disrupt the heroes. The subordinate nods and says it will work well because elves are seen as pure and innocent. Then the scene changes back to the slave market. Berge Diaz walks up to the two slave traders and says he is there to buy the elf. He tells them his servant will pay the price. The traders are shocked. With a scary glare, Berge Diaz asks if they have any problem with that. The terrified trader quickly says no. His partner nervously gets the payment ready. Berge Diaz orders both traders to leave the room. He says he needs to check something with the elf alone. One trader warns him that the elf might attack. Berge Diaz ignores the warning and says if anything happens, the trader will pay for it. The trader looks disgusted but has no choice and agrees. Both traders leave, now alone. Berge Diaz walks to the cage. Granada is sitting on the floor in chains. Berge Diaz uses his demonic power to break the chains and free Granada. Granada is surprised. He feels the dark energy and realizes Berge Diaz is a demon. Angrily, he asks what a demon wants with an elf. From outside the cage, Berge Diaz offers him a chance to get revenge on humans. Granada thinks the offer sounds good, but he says he cannot trust demons any more than he trusts humans. Berge Diaz says he is different. He offers a deal. If Granada stays loyal for exactly 50 years, Berge Diaz will keep him safe and then give him freedom. He adds that 50 years is not long for an elf, and it is much better than staying a slave. Granada has been humiliated by humans, but he is still not convinced. He reminds Berge Diaz that demons are trying to destroy the world tree, which the elves protect. Looking straight at him, Granada asks how he can trust a demon at all. He also says it is strange that a demon would need help from an elf. Berge Diaz realizes Granada has good points. After thinking for a moment, he smiles in a clever way and changes his plan. Fine, he says. Let's do it this way. He summons a magic contract book and makes a serious promise under the rules of the great Demon King. He swears he will not harm the world tree. To demons, the Demon King's rules are as sacred as the world tree is to elves. In return, he asks Granada to swear loyalty to him for 50 years, using the world tree as his oath. Granada smiles. He finds the whole thing very strange. You are weird, he says. But you are willing to make a fair deal. Granada stands up and introduces himself properly. I am Granada of the Maple tribe. He agrees to take the oath. but only after he meets the Demon King who sent Berge Diaz. Berge Diaz looks confident and says, I am the Demon King. Granada freezes in shock. He can't believe what he just heard. He stammers, what? Then he suddenly bursts into loud, crazy laughter. Still laughing, he grabs Berge Diaz by the shoulders and shakes him. That's impossible, he says. A Demon King would never leave his tower, his power gets weaker outside, just to buy one slave. Between laughs, Granada mocks him. If you really are the Demon King, then I'll swear loyalty for 100 years, not 50. Later, Berge Diaz, Granada, and the subordinate arrive at the 5th floor of the tower. The place is grand but completely silent and empty. Sitting on his throne, Berge Diaz reminds Granada, the 100-year contract was your idea. Granada finally realizes it is true. He goes into shock. His face changes from disbelief to anger. He explodes in rage. This is all a scam, he yells. You never said the whole tower would be empty. The first 3 floors are barren, and the 4th floor is just plants. Furious, Granada shouts, what kind of Demon King has no monsters guarding his tower? Heroes will destroy us in a year. I won't work like this. Berge Diaz stays calm and coldly says, we have a contract. Suddenly, Berge Diaz releases a terrifying wave of demonic power. It crushes Granada to the ground. Sweating and shaking, Granada finally admits to himself that this man really is the Demon King. Granada remembers the trip to the tower. Even though the tower looked old and empty, no monsters from the mountains came near. They were all scared of Berge Diaz's strong presence. Granada gives up. A Demon King is still a Demon King. Maybe through him, Granada can get the revenge he wants. Defeated, Granada kneels. He swears on the great name of the World Tree that he will be loyal for the next 100 years. As he swears, Granada thinks, if the Demon King came to recruit me himself, I must be important in his evil plan. But Berge Diaz's first order surprises him completely. With a relaxed smile, he says, good. Now, make me dinner. Granada freezes. His mind, ready for a big dark plan, goes blank. The scene changes in a funny way. Granada is now wearing an apron. He chops vegetables with great skill. He thinks, wasn't I supposed to be part of some evil master plan? To his shock, Princess Hilderin stands next to him, also cooking. She asks cheerfully, do you need help with the vegetable bread? Granada has no words. The view widens to show a long dining table on the 5th floor. Berge Diaz sits at the head. Princess Ernand and Gordon Durka sit on one side. Granada sits on the other. Still confused, Granada asks Berge Diaz, is that woman really the Princess of Hilderin? Berge Diaz answers casually. Yes, that's Hilderin. The princess just smiles. Granada explodes again. You've lost your mind, he yells. You kidnapped a kingdom's princess, but your tower has no defenses. How will you stop heroes from attacking? Berge Diaz calmly lifts a bite of food on his fork and says, that's why I bought you. For now, just sit and eat. Granada goes silent in shock. In a funny moment, Berge Diaz adds, the food is really good. Princess Ernand says happily, I helped too. Granada thinks to himself, what in the world is going on here? The scene moves to the 4th floor, a lush green field full of plants. Granada asks, is this where you plan to fight heroes? Berge Diaz shakes his head. No. If heroes reach this floor, it's already over. Then he explains Granada's real job. You will cause trouble in the human world. Granada blinks. You want me to be a spy? Berge Diaz nods. Yes. But first, I need to test your skills. He gestures to Granada. Attack me. Granada is stunned. He thinks, how can I beat a Demon King in his own tower? Berge Diaz gives him a handicap. I'll fight with one hand and no demonic energy. If you win, I'll cut the contract by 50 years. This excites Granada. He gathers nature energy and shouts, I'll attack with everything. Wind and leaves swirl around. The fight starts. Granada attacks fast and hard, but Berge Diaz blocks every move easily with one hand. Berge Diaz says, your moves are sharp for a former slave. It's because of the mana from the plants on this floor. That's normal for an angry elf. Granada yells, I'm no ordinary elf. You'll regret this fight. He uses nature magic. Vines shoot from the ground and wrap around Berge Diaz's leg, holding him still. Berge Diaz looks down and pretends to be surprised. Granada roars, you're open. He jumps forward with a powerful punch. Just then, a dark smile appears on Berge Diaz's face. He thinks, this is enough. In a flash, Berge Diaz disappears and reappears behind Granada. His eyes glow red, and his aura is scary. I hope you remember who you're fighting, he whispers. Granada freezes in fear. With a cold grin, Berge Diaz says, I won't kill you by mistake, but it will hurt. Terrified, Granada stammers, wait. Wait, a huge boom shakes the tower. The test ends badly for Granada. The scene changes to Orton Walk, the base of the Red Falcon mercenaries. Their captain greets Berge Diaz with big fake praise and greedy eyes. What an honor to see you again. Berge Diaz says he wants to hire the whole group for 1 year. The captain quickly asks about payment. His men whisper about how Berge Diaz beat them badly last time. Berge Diaz drops a huge bag of gold as a down payment. Everyone goes quiet in surprise. The mercenaries cheer and promise loyalty. The captain secretly thinks about finding a new job. Berge Diaz introduces a new member. This man will give you my orders from now on. The mercenaries look confused until the man speaks. Hello, my name is Granada. The elf's face is swollen, bruised, and covered in bandages from the training with the Demon King. The mercenaries stare in shock, then feel sorry for him. Some even cry a little. They welcome Granada warmly, patting his back and cheering for him. Berge Diaz watches quietly and thinks, they look average, but the Red Falcon mercenaries are tough fighters from the dangerous regressed region. They are skilled, strong, and hard to control. Berge Diaz thinks to himself about his real target. At this time of year, the only hero likely to answer Hilduran's call for help is Cargill, the one who defeated the Demon King of Lust. With his plan clear, Berge Diaz turns to his new mercenaries. Granada stands among them. He gives them their first official order, investigate Hill and Cargill, the hero hired by Hilduran. The mercenaries are now well paid and excited. They shout loudly together, yes, sir. In the lonely tower of Berge Diaz, surrounded by endless snow, the Demon King thought about his next step. He had already given the job of handling the heroes to Granada. Now it was time to make himself stronger. Sitting on his throne, Berge looked at his helpers and decided to focus on gaining more power. Normally, demonic energy could be used to improve the tower or to make the Demon King himself stronger. But Berge had used all of it on the tower. The only way left was to find a spirit flower. This was a special mana crystal that gave great power when eaten. Spirit flowers grew deep in the dangerous Regressed mountains. The area had strong mana storms, powerful monsters, and no humans had ever touched it. The flowers had soaked up natural mana for many years, so the place was full of treasures. Spirit flowers were not as good for demons as pure demonic energy, but Berge decided it was better than nothing. He got ready to search for them. His helper, Gordon Dirk, warned him it would be risky. Looking without a plan was like finding a needle in a huge desert. Monsters would attack if they sensed weakness. Berge was sure he could beat any monster, but he knew finding the flowers would be hard without a good mana detector. Just then, someone knocked on the door. Berge and Gordon looked at each other, confused. The door opened slowly. Princess Ernand Hilduran peeked in. A small slime sat happily on her head. Are you busy?" she asked shyly. Berge and Gordon were shocked to see her. A short time later, outside the tower, Princess Ernand walked excitedly through the snow. Her little spirits danced around her. Berge stood nearby, watching with no expression. "I'm so excited. I've been bored lately," she said. "You promised I could decorate the 4th floor any way I want," Berge agreed, but inside he wondered how strange her ideas would be. Who decorates a Demon King's tower? Princess Ernand felt very lucky. She never thought Berge would let her go outside. She was glad she came at the right moment. She looked at the small flame spirit floating in her hand. Suddenly, Berge opened his demon wings and grabbed her. "Hold on," she screamed, not ready at all. A loud roar came from behind them. They shot into the sky very fast, leaving trails of mana in the cold air. Ernand closed her eyes tightly at first. She was scared. But soon the fear went away. She opened her eyes and gasped. The world looked huge and beautiful below her. There were mountains, valleys, and endless snow. She had not seen any of this the night she was kidnapped. Her heart filled with emotion. She remembered her old life, endless magic lessons, strict rules in the palace. And walls that felt like a prison. She thought she would be trapped forever. Still flying, she whispered, "You are the only person who has ever flown over the Regressed mountains." Berge answered coldly, "Your job is to find the spirit flowers." Then Ernand said, "Just call me Ernand. We'll be together a lot." Berge got annoyed. "Remember your place," he said in a cold voice. "If you don't focus, I'll throw you in the dungeon." Ernand quickly said sorry and focused. She sent her small water spirits to search the mountains below. Berge thought they would not find anything soon, but he knew her spirits were faster than him or Gordon. Just seconds later, Ernand shouted happily, "I found one." Berge looked and saw a beautiful spirit flower glowing in the snow. Its petals shone with icy blue mana. But then they saw a big group of huge, fierce orcs guarding it. Berge landed in front of them like a true king. "If you have any honor, leave the flower and go," he said. The orcs growled. "We don't obey demons. We hate you. You will die." Berge laughed in a dark way. Gordon was right. I was foolish to expect beasts to listen. Dark purple power exploded around him. Small horns grew on his head. "I'll turn you all to ashes." A wave of energy hit the orcs. They screamed as flames burned them. The power difference was too great. Some orcs tried to attack the weakest target, Princess Ernand. Berge did not move. He made a barrier of demonic energy around her. When the orcs touched it, they were destroyed. Ernand watched in amazement. She knew a group of orcs could beat ogres, but they could not even get close to her. Berge gathered more power and released a huge explosion of dark energy. It destroyed everything. Silence came back. Snow fell on the burned ground, Ernan knelt by the spirit flower. It looked like a blue hyacinth, full of water and ice mana. It's so pure, she whispered, staring with wonder. Berge saw the greedy look in her eyes. Don't think about taking it. He warned. Okay, she said quietly. Berge offered a deal. If you find more, you can keep one. Her eyes lit up. I'll do my best, but even after searching until they were tired, they found no more flowers. That night, back in the cold tower, Berge sat on his throne and looked at the one spirit flower. He thought about Princess Ernand. At first, kidnapping her seemed like a mistake. But now, as he watched her sleep peacefully with her spirits around her, he thought she might be useful after all. Gordon came in. Demon King, a message from Granada arrived. That was quick, Berge said, surprised. Gordon said, the hero Hillen Cargill and 32 other heroes have left the capital of Hilderan. But they are not coming straight here. They are following the usual hero path, making a party, doing village quests, and getting stronger on the way. Gordon showed many plans on holographic screens, but Berge waved them away and threw them in the trash. Gordon was shocked. Berge smiled. This time, we won't send monsters to attack them. What? Gordon shouted. Berge explained, weak attacks only make heroes stronger. Then he gave a surprising order for Granada, join the heroes. Help them and gain their trust. Gordon could not believe it. His king was again doing things differently. He worried. The tower is not strong enough yet to stop heroes. Berge said he would make it stronger soon, and told how, with a dwarf. Gordon yelled, what? Now a dwarf too? We already have a human and an elf. People will laugh at us. A burst of demonic power quieted him. Berge said, I don't plan to stop heroes with just a dwarf. I need dwarven magic weapons, he explained. Heroes expect weak monsters on the first floor. But what if they find dozens of cannons instead? Gordon was amazed. No hero would expect that. But it was very unusual. Then he realized something terrible. Wait, to get a dwarf here means another kidnapping. The scene moved to the underground dwarven city of Wolfner. It was made of stone and glowing crystals. In the center, a blacksmith worked hard. His hammer hit the metal with strong rhythm. This was Lozier Friedrich, the best dwarven smith alive. And he was next on the Demon King's kidnapping list. The underground city of Wolfner was home to dwarves. Before his regression, Berge Diaz had fought many dwarves, but this was his first time visiting their city. He bribed the guard at the entrance with human gold and asked for the best blacksmith. The dwarf smiled, took the coins, and said, for a human, you know how to do business. Berge Diaz hid his demonic power completely, so no one knew who he really was. With a small bribe, he got clear directions: go into the city, find the huge hole, take the lift down. Guards would check identity and assign a floor. It was strict security, no intruders allowed. But Berge Diaz did not need the lift. He jumped straight down to the lowest level. Then he walked to the deepest chamber, the heart of Wolfner. That was where the famous blacksmith Lozier Fredericks worked. The first thing Berge noticed was the dwarf's skill. The metal glowed with mana, and the flames seemed to dance. For a moment, Berge wondered if this dwarf was truly the best. He decided he would find out after kidnapping him. He moved fast and tried to grab Lozier, but the dwarf was not ordinary. A wave of fire rushed toward Berge. Then a huge hammer swung at him. That flame has a touch of demonic power. Suspicious, Berge thought. He blocked the hammer with one hand. His bones cracked from the force. Are you a hero? He asked calmly. Lozier lifted his chin with pride. I am a hero. How dare a demon enter dwarf land? You will not leave alive. Berge grinned his famous Demon King smile. For all your big words, you are weak. Also, I am not just a demon. I am the Demon King. With ease, he slammed the hammer into the ground and grabbed Lozier by the throat, lifting him up. Guards rushed in after hearing the noise, but the chamber was empty. Panic spread. The hero Lozier Fredericks had been kidnapped. High above the city, on a terrace, Berge held his prisoner. Make a sound and I will kill you, he warned. Lozier was shaking but still asked, why is the Demon King here? Are you after the princess? Berge shook his head. He had no interest in dwarf royalty. He wanted to know about secret underground passages, routes only master blacksmiths knew for emergencies. Lozier thought this was a trick to reach the princess. He could not fight the Demon King anyway. He was terrified, even if he talked big. He refused to answer at first. So Berge whispered, fine. I will kidnap your princess and then let you go. Everyone will think you betrayed her to save your life. The shame and torture rumors will destroy you. Everyone already knew Lozier was not brave. No one would doubt the story. His life would become miserable. Berge gave him one last choice: guide him or sell out the princess. Lozier stayed quiet, but inside he was planning how to escape while still protecting the princess, a greedy little schemer. To close the deal, Berge made an oath. On the Demon King's honor, I promise your safety if you help me. To dwarves, such an oath from a demon king was sacred and unbreakable. Lozure's attitude changed at once. He became confident, obedient, and almost happy. Berge felt sick watching it. Deep in the city, Princess Louise wharfed paced with worry. Lozure had disappeared while making her weapon. Guard said he was kidnapped, but she snapped, quiet. He is a hero too. How could a hero be kidnapped? One guard tried to explain softly, Your Highness, he is a hero, but he is a very poor fighter. She glared at him. Find him now, or I will take all your heads. No one argued. In Lozure's hidden tunnel system, Berge was growing impatient. The passage was narrow. Berge had to walk behind the dwarf the whole way, much too close. Move faster, Berge growled. If I have to look at this ugly view any longer, I will burn the tunnel. Lozure laughed nervously. Just a moment. These tunnels were not made for tall people. At last, they came out outside the city. Lozure brushed off his clothes with relief. That's it. My job is done. I will go now. Berge shifted into his full demonic form. Dark wings spread wide, like a shadow covering the moon. What nonsense, Berge said. Lozure froze. You swore on the Demon King's honor, he stammered. Berge shrugged. I do not care about trash oaths. Lozure became the newest victim of the Demon King's tricks. Panic hit the dwarf. Wait. I am useful. No one is better at metalwork. I can make anything you want. Berge frowned. A hero should not switch sides so easily. Lozure no longer cared about pride, only survival. Berge gave one final order. Swear loyalty to me. Lozure instantly dropped and pressed his forehead to the ground. Yes, I swear. Thank you for your mercy. Of course, inside his head he was already planning escape. Two bad plans mean nothing when you are knocked out. Moments later, Lozure woke up in a beautiful garden filled with spirits. He felt confused and scared. Berge was pacing nearby. You kidnapped a hero, a dwarf hero, someone said. An elf appeared on a floating screen. My lord, did you really bring a dwarf here? Berge cut them off. Report later. Princess Ernan walked up to Lozure calmly. She studied him. Did you come to rescue me, hero? She paused. Probably not. Lozure still could not understand. Why am I here? You promised safety. Berge smirked. That is why you are still alive. I knocked you out and carried you. I could not trust a scared little dwarf. Lozure forced an awkward laugh. Right. Wonderful. Berge Diaz smirked and asked, Are you that happy to be my subordinates? Lozure Friedrich emotionally while laughing said, Yes, I'm very happy. Berge wasted no time. Your first task, install many cannons on the first floor. If heroes come, destroy them. The scene began at the heroes' preparation station. A holographic communication link flickered on. Granada, an outsider, gave his report. With calm confidence, he told his superior that rumors were spreading quickly among the heroes. According to the latest news, the new Demon King was said to use black flames. Because of this, the heroes were now equipping themselves with fire-resistant gear, getting ready for battle. Granada added that another rumor had started. Many heroes believed the Demon King had not sent out any demonic beasts because he was afraid. They saw his silence as weakness, not a plan. Berge Diaz listened without showing any emotion. His face stayed blank, and he did not move. When he finally spoke, his voice was cold and uninterested. He said the heroes still wanted to kill. Whether they fought for glory or for money, it did not matter. In the end, they would gain nothing. They would lose everything, even their will to fight. Before ending the call, Berge Diaz gave one last order. Granada was to keep watching the heroes closely and report any changes right away. Granada agreed and cut the connection. Alone now, Berge Diaz thought to himself. By holding back the demonic beasts, he was slowly breaking the hero's spirit and confusing their expectations. This Demon King clearly understood human thinking in a scary way. Granada wondered if there had ever been a Demon King like this before. The thought gave him a rare chill, but then he felt real relief. Berge Diaz was not his enemy. The scene changed to the cold halls of Berge's tower. Berge Diaz gave his first command to Lozure Friedrich. He wanted fire cannons built on the tower's first floor. But there was one strict rule: no mana stones could be used. Lozure Friedrich panicked right away. He said building such weapons without mana stones was almost impossible. Even if they could be made, they would not work well against heroes. Berge Diaz cut him off sharply. He said finding a way was Lozure Friedrich's job. He explained that heroes were favored by the world itself. They could sense energy very sharply. Any trap using mana stones would be spotted from far away. That was why mana stones were forbidden. Lozure Friedrich tried to argue again. Berge Diaz's face grew dark. Calmly, he formed a sphere of black magic in his hand. He reminded Lozure Friedrich that he had been brought here because he was the greatest blacksmith. If he failed, there were plenty of others who could take his place. Terrified, Lozure Friedrich broke down. His voice shook as he quickly said there was another way. Berge Diaz smiled coldly and said he should have mentioned it sooner. Lozier Friedrich explained that he had once invented a device that could completely hide mana traces. It had taken him 3 years to make, and the finished prototype was still in his workshop back in Wolfner. Berge Diaz's face hardened. He asked if this was just an excuse. Crying and shaking, Lozier Friedrich swore it was true. After a short pause, Berge Diaz decided to believe him, but with protection. He put a purple rune-etched collar around Lozier's neck. When Lozier Friedrich asked what it was, Berge Diaz explained calmly that it was a magic restraint. With one gesture, it could separate his head from his body. He added, with a thin smile, that the collar also changed how others saw Lozier's face, making it hard to recognize. If Lozier ever tried to remove it, Berge Diaz would see it as an escape attempt, and death would come instantly. Lozier Friedrich fully understood. He collapsed in fear and swore he would never try to take off the collar. After giving his orders, Berge Diaz left with Lozier Friedrich. Together, they traveled through several kingdoms to gather rare supplies and materials that worked with mana. The trip lasted almost a full month. Berge Diaz stored everything in his spatial pocket to keep it safe. When they finished, they returned to Wolfner, the dwarf kingdom. Inside the city, chaos had already begun. A huge boulder suddenly crashed down near a group of dwarves, breaking stone and sending pieces flying. At the center stood Princess Louise Worft, clearly furious. She shouted that a month and a half had already passed, yet the dwarves still had not found Lozier Friedrich. She called them useless and asked how much longer she was supposed to wait. An elderly dwarf stepped forward nervously. He explained that Lozier Friedrich had built many underground tunnels over the years. Their teams were searching every one, but Lozier had probably already escaped the city. Princess Louise snapped back. Of course he fled, she said. It would have been stupid to stay. She was sure Lozier Friedrich had been kidnapped. In a sudden rage, she grabbed the old dwarf by the face and lifted him off the ground. Coldly, she said she would give them 2 weeks. If the kidnapper was not found by then, every dwarf would die. Terrified, the old dwarf promised they would succeed. Princess Louise let him go and ordered the soldiers to destroy every tunnel Lozier Friedrich had ever made. The dwarves hurried to obey. As the soldiers ran off, the focus stayed on Princess Louise Worft. Princess Louise stared at the weapon made by Lozier Friedrich before he disappeared. Her body was strong and far from ordinary. She grabbed the weapon tightly, then shouted as she used her power to crush it into a useless pile of scrap. Lozier, please be alive, she yelled. You can't die until you've finished my weapon. At that moment, a hidden part of the wall slid open quietly behind her. One of Lozier's secret tunnels appeared. Louise felt the movement right away and turned quickly, her eyes sharp and focused. Because of the face mask that blocked recognition, she couldn't see who stepped out. But she knew the tunnel at once. In a cold voice, she said that only Lozier Friedrich knew about these hidden passages. She demanded to know if the man in front of her was him. Lozier Friedrich froze. Fear took over him. After a short struggle, he managed to say her title with a shaking voice. Louise cracked her knuckles. Anger showed on her face. She shouted that the bastard had dared to come back alive. A fierce smile appeared on her lips as golden vines of energy flared around her body. She accused him of hiding because he didn't want to make her weapon. Tears ran down Lozier's face as he desperately said no, that she had it all wrong. His words only made her angrier. She snapped back, reminding him that she was a princess and that he was insulting her by saying she was wrong. With full authority, she declared that from now on, he would be her slave and forge weapons for her forever. Golden energy glowed around her fist as she pulled it back. She said she would punish him first for running away. Just before her punch hit, a powerful blast exploded between them. Princess Louise flew backward through the air. She hit the ground hard but quickly steadied herself with one hand and stood up easily. Dust filled the air, then slowly cleared. Berge Diaz stepped forward calmly. He told Lozier Friedrich to grab the equipment right away. Louise glared at the stranger. The mask still hid his face from her. She demanded to know who he was and why he was helping a dwarf. In a calm, flat voice, he said he was the master of the blacksmith she had just been forcing to work for her. Princess Louise jumped high into the air, her face full of rage. She shouted that the blacksmith was her slave and would make her weapon for the rest of his life. The two crashed into each other midair. Their fists met with terrible speed and power. Shock waves ripped through the air with every blow, shaking the space around them. In the middle of the fierce fight, Berge Diaz saw an opening and kicked toward Louise Worft's neck. To his surprise, she caught his leg with one hand. Her grip was so strong that his eyes narrowed in pain. Before he could pull free, Louise punched him hard. The hit sent him flying up into the ceiling. She turned her head and coldly told Lozier Friedrich that it was his turn next. But Berge Diaz came back fast. He grabbed Louise by the head and slammed her down to the ground. Right away, they started trading blows at incredible speed. Shock waves filled the room, and pieces of stone flew everywhere. Their fight looked like a battle between monsters. Not people. Berge Diaz watched and recognized her at once. She was Louise Worft, the second daughter of the princess of the Dwarven Kingdom. She was not an official hero, but her strength was amazing. Even before Berge Dia's regression, Louise had been one of the strongest people he knew, and she was even stronger now than back then. Berge Diaz thought quickly. If she kept growing stronger, she would become a real danger. The smart choice was to kill her now. But to do that, he would have to use his full demon power. In his weak state, that was risky. If her soldiers saw his true power, they would know he was the Demon King. Their fists crashed together, sending out flashes of golden and purple energy. In the background, Lozier Friedrich was working hard, taking apart a huge machine piece by piece. It was a mana phantom device meant to hide and erase mana traces. During a short break in the fight, Berge Diaz looked at him and asked if it was ready. Lozier replied in panic that the machine was bigger than he expected and he was still working. Berge snarled that if Lozier wanted to live, he had 1 minute to finish. Lozier swore he was going as fast as he could. Louisa's aura suddenly exploded. 12 streams of bright golden power burst from her body. She demanded to know who had allowed them to do this. Berge glanced at Lozier and said coldly that if things got worse, he would leave him behind. Lozier's face went white with fear, but he promised he was almost done. Berge clenched his teeth. He did not know how much longer he could fight without using his full demon power. Every second brought him closer to being exposed. Their mana was running out fast. Princess Louise shouted that she did not care where they came from, they would not leave alive. She then turned to Lozier and said she would break his legs so he could never run away again. Berge laughed darkly. He said she sounded more like a demon king than he did. He told her to give up, he was taking the blacksmith and all the equipment. Just then, Lozier yelled that he was finished. As soon as the machine was turned off, the mana in the room changed suddenly. Louise growled that she would not hold back anymore if Lozier thought he could just come back and steal what was hers. Berge took the chance and kicked her hard in the chest. The blow sent her crashing to the ground, causing a huge explosion. Without waiting, Berge opened his subspace pocket and told Lozier to hurry. Louise stood up from the dust and said attacks like that meant nothing to her. But then she stopped. She saw that Berge, Lozier, and the machine had all vanished. Her soldiers finally arrived and asked what happened. Louise scoffed and called them slow. She asked if they planned to show up only after she was dead. She ordered them to chase Lozier through the tunnels. Then she stopped. The tunnels had been collapsed. Grinding her teeth, Louise realized the truth. Lozier really did not plan to come back and make her weapon. A cold smile appeared on her face as wind blew through the destroyed room. She said this was much more interesting than she expected. With angry, burning eyes and a twisted grin, she swore she would hunt Lozier down herself, even if she had to search the whole continent. When she found him, she would make him regret everything he had done that day. Then she shouted Lozier's name in rage, her eyes full of fury. Lozier Friedrich. Inside the first floor of Berge's tower, the Demon King stood calmly in front of a huge magical machine. He looked at it carefully and said firmly, "This is the magic we need to stop the hero. No matter what it costs, I must have this device." Behind him, Princess Ernand, the first princess of the Hilderan Kingdom, opened her eyes wide in surprise at its size. "It's enormous," she whispered. Nearby, Gordon, the Demon King's loyal servant, tilted his head in confusion. "What does it do?" he asked, sounding worried. "I was cleaning when all this started." He pointed to a strong metal frame built next to the machine. Lozier Friedrich stood straight and reported, "The Mana Phantom framework is complete. Installation is finished." The Demon King nodded once. "Good. Activate it now." "Yes, my lord," Lozier Friedrich answered quickly. Moments later, the Demon King released his dark energy. A scary purple glow spread across the floor, and heavy pressure filled the air. His voice turned cold. "After everything it took to bring this here, it better work." Lozier Friedrich shook under the power but replied, "Activation is already starting." When the spell finished, the machine roared to life. Mana rushed wildly around the room, and blue lightning covered the tower, lighting up everything. Princess Ernand raised her arm to shield her eyes. "The light is blinding." At that moment, a clear system screen appeared in front of the Demon King. System notification: the tower has recognized the Mana Phantom. Synchronization costs 10,000 points. Proceed. The Demon King looked at the screen. "So the tower has this function," he said quietly. "Very well. I will do it myself." Another screen showed his points. Available points, 11,182, he chose to synchronize. Synchronization complete. Points remaining, 1,182, final notification, system update. The Mana Phantom now recognizes the Demon King as its master. Processing complete. The Mana Phantom's power source has been fully changed from mana to demonic energy. The Demon King looked up and called, "Lozier Friedrich." Lozier Friedrich shook his head quickly, full of excitement. "I did nothing, my lord. I never dreamed we could join the Mana Phantom with the tower, or change its power completely. This is the discovery of the century. Even the original creator never thought of this." At that moment, Princess Ernand stepped forward. Her eyes shone as she looked at the awakened machine. "This is incredible," she said. The Demon King turned to her and said casually, "Why don't you try a spell?" Princess Ernan smiled happily. I'll use any spell I want, then. She started chanting. Bright magical symbols appeared in the air, and a huge, colorful ball of magic formed in front of her. Gordon's face turned pale. Wait! He shouted in panic. I just finished cleaning the tower. Please don't treat it like a playground. The Demon King ignored him and watched the spell. A spell this big should normally be seen and felt far outside the tower. He walked to the door and looked out. He frowned. He could not see or feel any sign of the magic outside. So this is the effect, he said quietly. A tower joined with a mana phantom. Curious, he sent his demonic energy into the tower. He moved his hand, and his face showed shock. The whole tower disappeared completely. A second later, he moved his hand again. The tower reappeared exactly as before. I can hide the tower whenever I want, he said slowly, and bring it back anytime. A small smile appeared on his lips, and a faint purple light glowed in his eyes. Using this power freely is still hard for now, he said calmly. But it will be very useful later. Outside the room, Lozier Friedrich could not hold back his excitement anymore. He shouted, begging for permission to study the machine. He even asked to take it apart, then quickly changed it to examine for research only. He called it a historic discovery that no one in the past or present had ever seen. The Demon King, Berge Diaz, watched him with sharp eyes. You sound like a demon ready for battle, he said. After thinking for a moment, he answered, very well. If you completely destroy the heroes trapped on the first floor, you may study it afterward. Lozier Friedrich's eyes lit up. Red energy surrounded his body. I will crush those heroes without mercy, he promised. He began chanting right away, fully focused on his examination. Berge Diaz turned to Princess Ernan. In a calm voice, he said, you will face the heroes who reached the fourth floor. Princess Ernan froze. Me? She asked, surprised. But I'm a princess. You are also a powerful spirit user, Berge Diaz replied. And you do not plan to return to the palace. He knew it might be unfair. She was still an innocent princess who did not know the world's cruelty, and asking her to fight her own people was heavy. But she stayed silent for a moment, thinking about what spell she could use. Berge Diaz stopped her thoughts. You don't need to fight directly. Just disturb the heroes and show them you are now my ally. If this works, I will grant you another wish. She looked at him seriously and nodded. I'll do it, she said. Then she added, but introduce me as your subordinate, not as a princess. Berge Diaz was surprised for a second, then agreed. Very well. Princess Ernan's face lit up with joy. Like a happy kitten. Thank you. I'll do my best. She blinked playfully and added, should I charm the heroes with my beauty? They'll probably fall for me. No, Berge Diaz said flatly. Do exactly as I say. She nodded. Understood. Later, Berge Diaz sat alone, looking at the system screen. He checked all the plans. The first floor would attack with powerful mana cannons to reduce hero numbers. On the fourth floor, Princess Ernan would act as bait to draw in the rest and finish them. Still, with more than 200 heroes coming, this might not kill even half. He needed to become stronger himself. His eyes moved to the shining treasure in his hand. Thick demonic energy wrapped around it. It was an icy water spirit blossom, corrupted by demonic power, very strong, even against demons. He decided to find more. In another place, Princess Ernan stood in a snowy land with freezing wind. She looked around and sighed. Nothing here either. This is our third try. Berge Diaz answered, maybe our earlier success was just luck. Suddenly, a huge figure appeared in front of them. Berge Diaz raised his arm, dark energy gathering. You again? He asked coldly. I'm tired of these visits. The large orc made a deep sound and bowed low. I am Krotu of the Blue Forest tribe, he said politely. I greet the Demon King. He bowed even lower and begged, we seek your protection. Berge Diaz looked at him coldly. You want to become my kin? All the orcs knelt at once. Their leader spoke for them. Our ancestors were demons who betrayed the demon realm. Because of that old sin, we ask to serve you. Berge Diaz stared down without warmth. Stop the flattery. You want to grow stronger by joining me. His eyes narrowed. You are better suited to demonic energy than spirit blossoms. An orc elder nodded to his group. He sees through us. No need to hide. He ordered, bring it out. They opened a box. Inside was a dark grim lotus, its petals sealed in ice. Berge Diaz recognized it at once. So that's why we couldn't find it, he said quietly. You planned this. You know how to bargain, unusual for orcs known only for strength. The orcs bowed their heads. To survive here, we need wisdom more than strength. Our tribe values brains. Berge Diaz gave the box to Princess Ernan and turned back to the orcs. You came because you lack power. You want strength. A small smile appeared on his face. Wisdom over strength, I like that. He raised his hand and began chanting. I will accept only one, Krotu. A demonic mark appeared and entered Kruta's body. Dark power filled the snowy field. Roam the land. Grow your tribe under my name, Berge said. Wait for my orders. I will give you a reward greater than strength, your tribe will last forever under my rule. Demonic energy covered Krutu. His body changed and grew stronger, he became a true demon. Kruta knelt deeply. I give my life and loyalty to you, Demon King. The whole tribe knelt behind him. Later, at Berge's mountain tower, power flowed through the building. Outside, an army of orcs stood in perfect rows. On the first floor, Lozier Friedrich waited with 60 mana cannons. Berge checked everything in his mind, orcs in position, tower floors ready, Princess Ernan waiting on the 4th floor. Everything was set. He looked up, his dark eyes hard. I will pay back the pain from my past life, he promised silently to the coming enemies. Far away, the hero looked up at the tall mountain and said to his friends, we finally arrived. Regressed Mountain stood in front of them. In the grand city of Holton Walk, a great banquet was held in the central hall. It honored the heroes before their final journey to defeat the Demon King. The room was filled with laughter, music, and the sound of glasses clinking. Warriors, nobles, and dignitaries celebrated together. A young hero named Lord Hillen, dressed in shining armor, spoke with the elderly Lord Castellan. The Lord smiled and said Hillen was too modest for his great deeds. Hillen thanked him for the wonderful banquet. The Lord replied that it was an honor to be part of this historic quest. After a pause, Lord Castellan suggested that Hillen should speak to the crowd. Hillen hesitated, feeling uncomfortable. But the Lord insisted. It would lift everyone's spirits. Hillen finally agreed. Lord Castellan announced it loudly, and all eyes turned to Hillen. He stepped forward, cleared his throat, and spoke calmly. He greeted his comrades, heroes, nobles, knights, mages, mercenaries, and merchants. He said their long journey was nearing its end. With a confident smile, he joked that their march had scared the Demon King so much that no monsters had blocked their path. The hall burst into laughter. Then he grew serious. He warned them not to relax and said every preparation was done. His voice rose as he declared that tomorrow they would take the Demon King's head. He asked who dared to kidnap Princess Ernan of Hilderan. With fury, he shouted that it was time to show the world who the true masters were. He raised his glass high, the crowd cheered wildly. They raised their glasses too and shouted to eat, drink, and celebrate. From a distance, an elf named Granada watched quietly. He noted that the expedition's size had not changed, just as the Demon King had predicted. Hillen's charisma had kept everyone together, he had gained money from guilds and held the mercenaries loyal, but Granada felt uneasy. The last tower he checked was empty. He wondered if the fight would really be easy. A dark thought crossed his mind, should he betray the heroes now? He panicked and scolded himself. If the Demon King was defeated, his curse would end, that was good for him. He shook his head and went outside for fresh air. He also needed to send a report. That night, under a full moon, Granada stood on a balcony. He used a glowing device to communicate. A calm voice said, we have arrived at Holton Walk. We will rest and climb the mountain tomorrow. Granada replied shortly, I see. Then the Demon King Berge spoke firmly, once you leave Holton Walk, do not contact me again. After a pause, he warned, beware of the snow on the mountain. Stay alert at night. And when the tower door opens, never be near it. The call ended. Granada was confused by the strange last warning. Suddenly, a voice behind him said, what are you doing out here alone? Granada jumped and turned. It was Hillen. Granada said he just needed fresh air. Hillen noticed his tension and offered him elven fruit wine. Granada drank it and felt better. Hillen asked if Granada was worried about defeating the Demon King. He laughed lightly and teased if the elf was nervous. Granada admitted, yes. Hillen looked into his wine and said quietly, actually, I don't know either. Granada was surprised. Hillen explained that attacking a Demon King's tower was always hard. Granada mentioned that Hillen had already beaten the Demon King of Lust. So a new one should be easier. But Granada realized no one knew the details of that victory. He asked Hillen to tell the story. Hillen avoided it. He smiled heroically and said his win was thanks to brave comrades who fought in front. He put a hand on Granada's shoulder and said, comrades like you. He asked Granada to guard his flank in battle. Together, they would win. Granada smiled and agreed. Hillen led him back inside. Later, alone, Hillen smirked darkly. He looked at a ring with a red gem and thought, I'm counting on you this time too, Elf Granada. The next morning, the city of Holton Walk was full of activity. The huge expedition got ready to leave. As the heroes started their march, crowds of citizens lined the streets. They cheered loudly, shouting words of encouragement and good luck. They praised the leaders with cries of, Long live Lord Granada, and Long live Lord Wharton. At the front, Granada walked with a calm, serious face, staring straight ahead. Beside him, Hillen walked proudly, smiling confidently at the crowd's admiration. The cheers grew even louder when people started chanting, Long live Lord Hillen Cargill. Soon, the expedition left the city behind. The cheers faded away. In their place came silence as they entered the harsh regressed mountain gorge. Tall, snow-covered cliffs rose on all sides. A sharp, cold wind blew through the air. The large group moved slowly through the empty, frozen land. The cold was their only constant friend. As they went deeper into the mountains, some soldiers began to talk. Their worries started to disappear. One said the weather was surprisingly good, little snow and a clear, sunny sky. He added that they would reach the tower easily at this speed. Another smiled and agreed. The goddess of victory must be helping us. A big warrior laughed and said there were no signs of the dangerous monsters everyone had feared. His friend smirked and replied, the monsters are probably too scared to show up now that Hero Hillen is here. While the warrior kept boasting, one of his friends suddenly tapped his head. When the warrior touched the spot, his hand came away covered in strange, sticky purple slime. Confused, he looked up slowly. A massive ghoul towered over them. Fear spread quickly through the group. Soldiers screamed in panic. One shouted, there's a ghoul. His face was full of terror. Another pointed and yelled, what is that thing? Look how big it is. Their confidence broke in an instant. Before full chaos started, Hillen's strong voice cut through the noise. He drew his sword with determined eyes. They finally showed up, he said, the whole expedition prepared to fight. More ghouls poured into the canyon from every side. Hillen stood strong and shouted, do not panic. Protect each other. He quickly made a plan. The canyon was narrow and short. Knights would protect the mages and push forward to break through the enemies. The battle began. Swords hit undead bodies, and magic flashed brightly in the frozen canyon. Suddenly, a warrior yelled a warning, Lord Hillen, a frost giant at the front. Hillen stopped for a moment. A huge skeletal monster made of ice rose from the canyon wall. Its size shocked everyone. Hillen quickly ordered the group to fall back. He turned to Hero Wharton and said firmly, I will fight the frost giant alone. The rest of you escape the canyon. Wharton looked at him in surprise, asking if Hillen really planned to face such a giant monster by himself. Hillen replied calmly, no problem. Then he jumped forward, a strong wave of blue energy hit the frost giant, but the creature did not move. It stood untouched. Hillen attacked again, moving fast against the tall monster. The giant's red eyes glowed with scary power. Its icy bones stood out against the white snow. A confident smile appeared on Hillen's face. In his mind, he thought, a frost giant can't be stronger than the Demon King of Lust. The giant roared loudly and swung its huge arm down at him. Hillen was ready. He slashed upward with great force. His sword broke the giant's icy arm into pieces. Shock waves shook the canyon. The monster roared in pain and anger. Hillen did not wait. When the giant swung its other fist, he shattered that too. With quick, powerful moves, his sword glowing blue, Hillen cut deep into the giant's body. He attacked without stopping. While keeping the giant busy, Hillen looked back and saw the group could escape. He gathered his power and struck a final series of strong blows. Then he shouted loudly, run now, everyone. The expedition rushed forward without delay. Warriors, mages, and mercenaries ran past Hillen and the giant. Hero Wharton shouted too, run away. A huge explosion sounded behind them as Hillen held the giant back. Wharton urged the others on, yelling that Hillen was blocking the path and they had to go now. The damaged frost giant stared after them with glowing red eyes. Full of rage, it roared one last time. Then its body fell apart and exploded in a massive blast that shook the whole canyon. The survivors reached a snowy forest nearby. They fell to the ground, breathing hard, shaking from tiredness and fear. One warrior, still shocked, muttered, dozens of huge ghouls and a frost giant taller than a cliff. This place is crazy. No human should be here. Another agreed darkly, even the Demon King's tower wasn't this bad. A third said their losses were small, all thanks to Hero Hillen's great strength. Soon they talked about where Hillen's power came from. One mentioned a rumor. Hillen had taken the power of the Demon King of Lust after defeating him. The rumor spread fast. Many now believed Hillen was as strong as a Demon King. One warrior said that since Hillen had already killed one Demon King, he must be even stronger now. These words raised their spirits. Smiles returned. They agreed that with Hero Hillen, they had nothing to fear. Granada listened and thought quietly, if it's Lord Hillen, he might really beat this Demon King. But then something new blocked their path. A group of large blue-skinned orcs stood ahead, led by a tall chieftain with curved horns. The journey was not over. The heroes tried to catch their breath. Hero Wharton said seriously, no time to rest. Granada looked closely at the orcs and recognized them. These are pure orcs. Hillen's face grew hard. I feel demonic energy from them, he said coldly. They serve the Demon King. The orc chieftain, named Crew, stepped forward. His huge body and strong muscles made him scary. A cruel smile showed on his face. Foolish heroes, he growled in a low, mocking voice. Welcome to Ergest. Wharton gripped his weapon and said angrily, I'll deal with garbage like you right now. He started to charge. But Granada quickly raised his hand. His sharp elf ears heard a strange, deep rumble far away. "Wait, Lord Hillen," he said quickly. "This sound." The rumble grew louder. Granada remembered the Demon King's warning, "Beware of the snow." Fear filled his face. "This is what he meant," he whispered. Crew looked down at them coldly. "None of you will reach the tower," he said with certainty. The ground started to shake hard. Cracks appeared in the snow on the mountain. The loud sound of moving snow and ice filled the air. An avalanche rushed down the slope. Granada screamed in anger and fear. How were we supposed to know about this? In rage, he cursed, "You crazy Demon King bastard." The avalanche hit fast. Tons of snow and ice buried the whole expedition in seconds. It swallowed warriors, mages, and heroes. As the snow carried him away, Granada's face showed pure terror. With his last strength, he yelled, "Everyone run." But the roaring snow covered his voice. Far away in his tall fortress, Demon King Berge sat on his throne. Screens in front of him showed the disaster. One by one, pictures of the heroes went dark. A dark smile appeared on his face. "Heroes, welcome once again," he said softly, full of mockery. With an evil grin, Demon King Berge Diaz watched the heroes' final screams. His plan had worked perfectly. He leaned back, eyes cold and pleased, and whispered to the dead, "This time, I will hunt you all down." The Demon King sat calmly on his throne, staring at a large screen in front of him. He looked relaxed, his face showing no emotion. When he spoke, his voice was cold and sure. He began to explain the big plan he had already started. First came the snow. On the huge frozen battlefield, the ground itself started to change. A trap was triggered in a specific area. Suddenly, a massive blizzard hit. Everything turned white and chaotic. No one could see far. The cold became deadly, and it was hard to know how much damage was done. The storm swallowed the whole area. Hillen Karjal shouted orders over the howling wind. He told the heroes to set up camp and look for anyone scattered by the earlier attack. The blizzard made every move slow and difficult. From his throne, the Demon King kept explaining calmly. His second order was clear: never let your guard down at night. The enemy waiting was not normal, and being careless would mean death. As night fell, things got worse. From the dark forest, ghoul monsters appeared, hard to see in the snow. Huge forest beasts came too, shaking the ground. One knight froze in shock and said, "Orcs monsters again." Weapons were drawn at once. The heroes formed a tight group, ready for another fight. Far away, Granada clenched his teeth in anger. He cursed the Demon King for being too reckless. The fight was getting out of control too fast. The Demon King finally stood up. A dark smile appeared on his face as he moved forward without fear. Avalanche by day, monsters by night, this cruel cycle would keep going. Long before the heroes figured out the trap, they would be too tired in body and mind. Their defeat was certain. 3 days passed like an endless nightmare. The heroes fought to stay alive every moment. When they finally reached the top of the Urgest Mountains, everyone was worn out. They moved slowly, breathed heavily, and had little strength left. One knight spoke quietly, confused. "Where is the Demon King's tower?" The group was shocked. Hillen Karjal shouted in disbelief. A tower was supposed to be here, the place for the final battle. But nothing was there. He tried to hide his worry and ordered the group to split up and search. Before they could move, a commander stopped him. He said the mission had failed. Going further would only cause pointless deaths. From now on, staying alive was more important than winning. Hillen Karjal turned slowly, staring in shock. The commander's words were firm but sorry. Hillen said nothing, teeth clenched. 6 days after entering the mountains, they finally found the tower. When it appeared, the heroes exploded in anger. One knight yelled about the destruction of Mintanya and called the Demon King mad. When they forced the gates open, confidence returned. A knight laughed and said the first floor was full of weak monsters. He ordered everyone to charge ahead. That was when the Demon King spoke. His cold voice echoed everywhere in the tower. A scary smile spread across his face. His true demon form appeared, filling the air with heavy pressure. This was his third order: the moment the doors opened, anyone who entered would face hell. Magic cannons appeared all around, surrounding the heroes. Lightning cracked loudly. Hillen Karjal stared in horror and asked what they were up against, then bright blue energy beams shot out. The cannons fired. The Demon King sat still in his control room, watching. He said calmly that this was just the first attack, to test how long they could last. When the firing stopped, he smiled faintly. Hillen Karjal was still standing. On the battlefield, Hillen struggled to stand straight. He gripped his sword tighter, breathing hard. Rage and confusion filled him. Nothing made sense, no strategy he knew explained this. Then Granada stepped out of the smoke, unhurt. Hillen felt relief and quickly said they should push to the next floor. Granada looked at him carefully. Only the two of them were left. It was dangerous. But Hillen said he had once beaten the Demon King of Lust and taken his power. This enemy was not stronger. With Granada's help, they could win. Granada nodded, and they moved on. The second floor was empty. The third floor was empty too. Hillen grew angry. A tower this size should be full of monsters, but there was nothing. Granada stayed quiet. He felt something planned was happening. Empty floors meant someone powerful was controlling the fight. He thought of Princess Ernan. They stayed careful and reached the fourth floor. Both stopped in surprise. A beautiful green forest stretched ahead, like a peaceful garden inside the tower. Hillen could not believe it. A forest inside a tower made no sense. Granada said it was a curse, advanced magic that twisted space. Before Granada could say more, Hillen saw a figure. A young woman in dark, demonic clothes stood there. She gave off strong dark mana. She looked delicate but dangerous. She spoke lightly, almost like a child having fun. She said she was one of the 4 heavenly kings who served the Demon King, the Dark Spirit Master. She looked at Hillen and smiled. He had come to save a princess, but now that princess stood as his enemy, silence fell. Then Hillen understood. His eyes widened. Princess Ernan? Granada looked hopeless. The woman laughed softly and said no, she was the Dark Spirit Master. With a small move, she used powerful dark spirit magic. Hillen's shock grew. That spell was top-level spirit magic, only Princess Ernan could use it perfectly. Everything clicked. The night attacks, the hidden tower, the cannons, the empty floors, it was all planned. Princess Ernan was behind it. Hillen laughed bitterly. The princess he had suffered so much to save had been protecting the Demon King all along. Rage took over. If the world was against him, he would destroy it himself. Before he could attack, the air shook. Dark purple energy exploded. The ground cracked. The Demon King appeared. His presence twisted space. His cold eyes fixed on Hillen. At last, the Demon King said calmly, I see your face, Hillen Kargil. Hillen pointed his sword, eyes burning with anger. The Demon King had shown himself. The full trap was clear now. Hillen turned to Granada. Give me your strength. The ground shook. Granada suddenly felt weak. His life force was draining away fast. Hillen's face turned cold. He said softly, stay with me, and it will be okay. Granada fell, all strength gone. The Demon King recognized it, a forbidden artifact called the Elf Eater. It turned an elf's life force into mana for the user. Once started, the elf could not survive. Hillen pressed his foot on Granada's face and said it was necessary, for the greater good. The Demon King smiled. He found it funny, low and shameful, but very human. He said if the ring was removed, the stolen power would disappear. Hillen laughed wildly. Even the Demon King of Lust could not take the ring from him. The Demon King said one name, Gordon Derrick. Suddenly, pain hit Hillen. Blood sprayed. His arm went limp. He had felt nothing coming. Behind him stood Gordon Derrick, the Demon King's loyal servant. His sword was already down. He spoke coldly about how noisy and rude humans were. Before Hillen could react, Gordon hit again, sending him flying. Hillen realized Gordon was a high-level demon, too strong even with the artifact's power. Then heavy pressure came. The Demon King was behind him, hand on his shoulder. Hillen tried to move but could not. Space itself trapped him. A huge wolf-shaped shadow appeared, an ancient ruler of the continent. Hillen knew there was no escape. Dark energy gathered around the Demon King. The ground cracked. His voice was calm. Now you will see what a true Demon King is. The power grew, filling the area with the promise of total destruction. After the Demon King's devastating blow, Hillen Kargil lay motionless on the ground, half dead but still breathing. Even in defeat, the fact that he was still alive proved his incredible strength. The Demon King looked down at him with cold respect. To survive such a powerful attack was impressive, and the Demon King openly admitted that Hillen's power deserved acknowledgement. However, mercy was not in his nature. Without hesitation, he ordered Gordon Ramsay to tie Hillen's hands and throw him into prison. He also commanded that the other humans collapsed outside the door be imprisoned. Gordon Ramsay obeyed at once and carried out the orders. Granada was in much worse shape. His body had withered until he looked like a white skeleton. Groaning in pain, he weakly said he could already see the afterlife. The Demon King glanced at him, praised his efforts with clear mockery, then casually used Spirit Blossom. In an instant, Granada's body was fully healed. The pain disappeared, his flesh returned, and he stood there frozen in shock. A moment later, the Demon King used Spirit Blossom on the princess as well. Watching this, Granada wondered if he had been healed the same way. Before he could think more, the dwarf suddenly shouted with excitement. The Demon King recognized the dwarf's hard work and gave him permission to dismantle the tower. The dwarf burst into loud celebration, bowing repeatedly and thanking the Demon King again and again. With everything settled, the Demon King ordered everyone back to their duties. The damaged floors needed to be repaired right away. After giving his final instructions, he turned and left. Calm slowly returned to the battlefield. In the silence, Granada thought about everything he had seen. After such a fierce fight, the Demon King still looked completely unharmed. This matched the terrifying reputation Granada had heard. To him, this was exactly what a true Demon King should be. The princess stood quietly, deep in thought.
When Granada asked what was wrong, she said it was nothing. But inside, she could not shake the feeling that the Demon King had been tired. Away from everyone's eyes, the Demon King, whose true name was Berge, collapsed on the floor, completely exhausted. He clenched his teeth and admitted to himself how close the fight had been. A Demon King could never show weakness in front of others. He cursed Hilan Cargill under his breath, recognizing how dangerous that human truly was. Facing one of the 10 stars, the 10 strongest heroes on the continent, was no small matter. Hilan was considered one of the weaker members, yet Berge knew the truth. In this life, he had barely used any demonic energy to strengthen himself due to limited resources. If Hilan had been at full strength, victory would have been impossible. Instead, Berge had worn Hilan down slowly. He provoked him, made him panic, and forced him to lose focus. In that moment of desperation, Hilan left one fatal opening. Berge seized it with a full power strike and ended the battle. For now, he considered it a perfect victory, even if it did not meet the usual standards of a Demon King. Then he realized something incredible: he had changed fate itself. That thought filled him with new determination. If fate could be changed once, it could be changed again. He believed he could now alter the future and finally take revenge on the heroes who had destroyed him in his previous life. The scene shifted to the Holtaion Walk press conference hall. Chaos filled the room. Officials shouted over each other while reporters accused them of lying. They mocked the claim that the heroes had simply given up because they could not find the tower. Angry investors demanded answers and wanted someone held responsible for the failure. One man stood firm. He insisted the mission was not over yet. According to him, Sir Hilan Cargill and the great heroes had not given up. They were still searching for the Demon King's tower.
All they needed was a little more time. That was when the king exploded in rage. He cursed Hilan Cargill for his arrogance and failure. His voice boomed through the hall as he declared that Hilan had talked big but achieved nothing. His patience was gone. If Hilan failed to rescue the princess, he would be executed without mercy. The dwarf princess tried to speak up and explain the hero's journey and the difficult circumstances, but the king cut her off. He refused to listen and immediately ordered that Lower be found. Whispers spread quickly. Some said Sir Hilan Cargill had never returned. Others claimed he was already dead. As rumors grew, news of the new Demon King spread across the continent. With each retelling, the story became more frightening. Fear and despair filled people's hearts, and the world sank into sorrow. Because of this widespread despair, Berge's demonic energy points began to grow rapidly. The scene moved to the Heroes Guild headquarters, where a tense meeting was taking place. The gathered heroes questioned Hero Warden repeatedly, asking if there was any lie in his report. Warden swore on his name that everything was true. One elder hero spoke coldly. The situation was very serious, but since the new Demon King's identity was unknown, they needed to be cautious. He reminded everyone that Hilan Cargill was one of the 10 stars and could not be defeated easily. After long discussion, they decided to wait 10 more days for news of Hilan. If nothing came, all 4,728 heroes across the continent would launch a full attack to destroy the new Demon King. Deep underground in Berge's Tower prison, the Demon King visited Hilan. He noticed Hilan was already awake and commented on his fast recovery. Hilan spoke right away, saying that if he was being kept alive, the Demon King must want something. He demanded to know what it was. The Demon King smirked, pleased that Hilan was willing to talk. He made his offer clear: Hilan Cargill must become his vassal. Hilan froze, unable to believe what he had heard. The Demon King calmly placed a bag of gold coins in front of him and explained the harsh reality of a hero's life. A hero's journey cost enormous amounts of money: food for hundreds, security, lodging, guild fees, armor, weapons, and high-quality supplies. Usually, merchants and nobles paid these costs. When a hero defeated a Demon King, life became rich and comfortable. But when a hero failed, they were buried under crushing debt. This time, all the investments had been placed on one person, Hilan Cargill, the party leader. Even if he escaped, he would be labeled a failed hero and hunted by debt collectors for the rest of his life. Hilan stayed silent, knowing it was true. What disturbed him most was how the Demon King knew all this. Granada stepped forward and admitted he had told him. Hilan shouted Granada's name in fury, accusing him of betrayal. Granada shouted back, calling Hilan a scammer and reminding him of everything he had suffered. He declared he had been on the Demon King's side from the start. The Demon King explained the real reason for Hilan's defeat: there had never been a Demon King like him before. Hilan thought bitterly about those words. He himself had once broken the old standards. Now this Demon King would soon adapt and clear towers even faster. The Demon King laughed and revealed Armani's orb in his hand. He pointed out that if one of the strongest heroes was secretly working against humanity, could humanity ever succeed? The orb was a magical tool used to control subordinates. Once inside the body, it attached to the brain. The Demon King would instantly know any hostile thought, and with one gesture, he could destroy Hilan's brain. This was the test. If the orb could not attach, it meant rejection, and Hilan would die. There were plenty of other heroes to use. The scene shifted to Hilan's companions. Lying half dead on the ground, groaning in pain. Seeing them, Hilan panicked and begged the Demon King to stop. He claimed a hero of his strength was immune to mind control and that the orb would simply vanish. Granada grinned and explained that a hero's mental defenses could be lowered by their own will. The Demon King added with a mocking smile that Hillen's own words had already shown his choice. Enraged, Hillen insulted the Demon King, calling him a mad elf with no shame for wasting a precious tool. He swore he would never submit. The Demon King silenced him and forced the orb down his throat. Terrible pain tore through Hillen's body as the magic took hold. Granada watched and remarked that Hillen was stubborn. Then wondered aloud what would happen if he chose death. The Demon King remained calm. A greedy man who treated his comrades as tools for money would never choose death. A status window appeared. Name, Hillen Cargill. Equipment, Armani's orb. Status, Demon King's vassal. Hillen cursed bitterly, his hatred echoing in the prison. Later, in the castle, Gordon Ramsay reported to the Demon King. Although Hillen was now a vassal, his 100,000 gold debt would limit his actions greatly. The gold coins previously traded for demonic energy points had only amounted to 2,000 gold, enough to match a small nation's yearly budget. Gordon Ramsay asked how they could gather more. The Demon King smiled confidently and said it was time he received a certain message. When Gordon Ramsay looked confused, the Demon King explained, the annual gathering of Demon Kings, the unison of towers. In his thoughts, Berge remembered his past life. He had always avoided such gatherings, finding the idea of Demon Kings working together disgusting. But now he realized those older Demon Kings had survived for centuries. They must have huge amounts of gold and treasure.
Gordon Ramsay understood at once. The Demon King planned to trade demonic energy points for money again. In the past, Gordon Ramsay would have objected strongly, but after facing the heroes himself, he now saw the necessity. Following old traditions would never have stopped the heroes. He accepted the truth and decided to trust his Demon King completely. At that moment, news arrived. An invitation to the Unison of Towers had been delivered. The Demon King smiled slyly and declared they would attend. In his mind, he planned to take as much gold as possible from the senior Demon Kings without mercy.
Gordon Ramsay bowed and promised absolute obedience. The Tower of Lies stood tall and dark. On the 13th floor was the chamber where the Demon Kings met. The room felt heavy and quiet, as if the air itself was waiting for something to happen. All the Demon Kings were already there, sitting in silence. Then the doors opened. Berge Diaz, the Demon King of Flames, a demonic dragon, walked in calmly. His presence filled the room at once. He looked around and smiled slightly. I'm not late, but you're all here already, he said. Do you have a lot to talk about without me? The others did not smile back. Draxen Doldorf, the Demon King of Beasts, a werewolf, stared at him with clear anger in his eyes. Next, Reyna Soldian, the Demon King of Winters, a frost demon, spoke in a cold voice. So, you're the one everyone is talking about. Yugur Belva, the Demon King of Indestructibility, a titan, scoffed. Here comes the arrogant newcomer who insults our ways. Finally, the host of the meeting spoke. Jason Cockmund, the Demon King of Lies, race unknown, smiled calmly. Welcome, Berge Diaz. Berge Diaz laughed loudly, full of mockery. You fools, he said. You made an alliance. Aren't you ashamed to call yourselves Demon Kings? Inside his mind, though, he thought differently. Of course I understand why you did it. It makes sense for the situation in Arian. Yugur Belva's face turned red with rage. You're the fool. He shouted. Who are you to interfere, newcomer? What do you even know about Arian? Berge stayed calm on the outside. In his thoughts he noted, a simple provocation shows what someone is really thinking. Then he looked straight at Yugur and said coolly, you call me a fool? I'm the only elite one here. Yugur roared, if you want to die, I'll grant your wish right now. Both released their power at the same moment. Terrifying energy crashed through the room. Suddenly, Jason Cockmund stepped between them and clapped his hands once. The killing intent from both Demon Kings vanished instantly. Yugur and Berge kept glaring, but the fight stopped. Jason spoke calmly. Yugur. Berge. We are here to talk about cooperation. Please do not waste time. Berge felt uneasy inside. That wasn't magic. How did he do it? Is it his power? Or the power of this tower? The Demon Kings moved to their seats. Jason said, thank you for understanding. Now, let us begin. Speak freely. Berge answered with quiet disdain, so this meeting is nothing special. Draxen Doldorf spoke next, his voice low and threatening. If no one else will start, I will. Where is Hillen Cargill, Berge Diaz? He released his energy toward Berge as he asked. Berge stayed silent for a moment. Then began, Hillen Cargill was, the scene changed. Deep inside the Tower of Lies, in a reception room, aides of the Demon King of Beasts and aides of the Demon King of Lies stood facing Gordon. Their eyes were cold. One asked bluntly, what happened to Hillen Cargill? Is he already dead? Gordon stiffened and quickly shook his head. I don't know anything, he said. I never reached the upper floors. Maybe he's still near Mount Ergest. He bowed low. Please don't ask me more. A beast man scoffed. That doesn't make sense. If he was near the mountain, he would have seen the tower. Gordon answered quietly, this isn't our tower to begin with. Another beastman muttered, maybe the rumors about that Demon King are true. Gordon felt a chill. He remembered Berge Diaz's orders, if anyone asks about Hill and Cargill, say you know nothing. Keep everything secret, but something felt wrong to Gordon. Unease grew inside him. Suddenly he burst out, the Demon King I serve is a rebel and a fool. He never listens to anyone. If he's left alone for even a moment, he does the most ridiculous things. If it's going to be like this, just do everything without him. When he finished, strange relief washed over him. He felt lighter. The beastmen looked at each other and nodded. We know exactly how you feel, one said. Then they all began complaining about their own demon kings, sharing the same frustrations. The scene returned to the 13th floor. Yuger stared at Berge in disbelief. You seriously expect us to accept this? Berge answered calmly, yes. Yuger exploded. Hill and Cargill hasn't even arrived. You didn't build the tower on the mountain. It's only 82% complete. Who do you think you're fooling? Berge replied casually, I can build my tower wherever I want. Jason spoke next. The situation hasn't changed. Warriors are still coming for the tower. Why did you leave your own tower and come here? With a mocking smile, he added, a demon king who lost his tower. Didn't we all learn better at the Demon King Academy? You were supposed to be the greatest leader. Berge brushed it off. There's nothing to worry about. I will protect my tower myself. Inside, he thought, something about the Demon King of Lies has bothered me for a while. When Jason tried to keep mocking, Berge cut him off sharply. Draxon, annoyed, asked, do you really think Archduke Arcane will just ignore this? Berge shrugged. I don't care what that old man says. Draxon thought to himself, he's as stubborn as ever. Berge turned the question back. Is something bothering you? Draxon brushed it off. No. Let's move on. Inside, Berge thought, even if I caught something suspicious, I couldn't prove it. For now, it's enough. Better to avoid trouble. Our real goal is to collect 100,000 gold. Everything else comes second. As the meeting went on, Berge spoke more than expected. He watched carefully and noticed a clear hierarchy among demon kings. Jason Kochman sat at the very top. He also noticed which demon kings seemed desperate for magic points. Suddenly, Reyna Soldian gave him a cold, sharp look. Berge was confused by the hostility. Later, on the balcony of the 13th floor, Reyna stood alone, looking outside. Berge approached. What's wrong? She answered calmly, nothing secret. After hearing the rumors, I wanted to speak with you privately. Berge was surprised. With me? She nodded. I agree with some of your opinions. He was shocked. In his past life, he could not remember her ever saying anything like that. She quickly added, don't misunderstand. I don't hate the standards like you do. I believe in traditional values. But sometimes we need flexibility, especially in Aryan. That's why I wanted to talk. At least I can communicate with you. Unlike the others. Berge shared his honest thoughts. She replied, your view isn't bad. You're better than I expected. She handed him a small item, a personal communication device. If you ever need advice, contact me. As long as you don't insult the Demon King standards in front of me, I'll tolerate you. She finished softly, I hope someone who can communicate properly doesn't disappear too soon. Berge asked, why not talk to the Demon King of Lies instead? She answered, he can't read your mind the way you think. He's better than the other two, but even he has limits. Then she left the balcony. Alone, Berge thought, I still don't fully trust her. But her clear, honest attitude is valuable. This talk alone made the meeting worth it. At the same time, in Berge's own tower, on the first floor, a princess arrived carrying a tray of fresh cookies she had baked. Her eyes were bright and happy. She offered them to Lozier Friedrich. Please try one. Lozier stared in surprise. Snacks inside a Demon King's tower? The princess smiled. The Demon King bought the ingredients himself. I baked them with help from spirits. Lozier praised her skill with spirits. The atmosphere felt warm and comfortable. She urged him again to taste one. He thought to himself, a princess who never had to work, she probably can't cook well. But I'll praise it anyway. He took a bite. The flavor was incredible. His mana surged wildly. He had never tasted anything so good. It felt like heaven. The princess watched nervously. I added spirit blossoms to the dough. How is it? Lozier could not stop eating, completely stunned, she smiled warmly. This is a gift to build friendship for the future. Playfully, she added, after watching your face, I'm sure the Demon King would like them too. Lozier agreed, excited. The moment felt gentle and sweet. The scene returned to the Tower of Lies. Berge came back from the balcony and found the meeting room empty. They're all gone, he said. Jason nodded. The meeting has ended. Berge remarked, it was short. Jason noticed his expression and offered tea. Do you regret anything? No, Berge said quickly. Jason smiled calmly. You need something as a human, Berge. You need money, desperately. Berge froze, shocked. How does he know that? Where did the information leak from?